The COVID-19 pandemic is a major challenge in efforts to restore the national economy. The ongoing restrictions on activity and mobility, of course, hampered the movement of the economy, especially felt by the business world. However, as the number of COVID-19 cases in Indonesia begins to decline, this is expected to be able to support the recovery phase of the Indonesian economy, especially after recording encouraging growth in the second quarter of 2021, amounting to 7.07%. As expressed by President Joko Widodo and Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani in the following statement.
Dan kita berharap dengan penanganan kasus yang turun, kita harapkan juga ekonomi akan kembali tahap demi tahap naik kembali. Kita tahu kemarin kuartal kedua kita berada di angka 7,07%, dan inflasi berada di angka 1,5%, yang kita harapkan ini juga bisa berlanjut di kuartal yang ketiga, meskipun kita pastikan bahwa pertumbuhan ekonomi di kuartal ketiga pasti akan lebih rendah dari kuartal yang kedua.
Kita lihat ada sedikit tanda mulai terjadi pembalikan. Kita berharap pada minggu ketiga Agustus nanti sudah mulai terlihat semua angka ini akan berbalik arah lagi. Dan ini kemudian diharapkan akan mengembalikan momentum pemulihan.
The continuation of the economic recovery is certainly the hope of all parties, especially after the assumption or target of Indonesia's economic growth in 2022 in the draft state budget, amounting to 5.2% to 5.5%, which is even greater than what President Joko Widodo previously stated in his financial note speech on August 16. So with a fairly high growth target, can it be achieved? To analyze further, let's look at the economic growth data in the previous quarters in the next graphic. So in the graphic, we can see the economic growth of Indonesia from quarter to quarter. So from the first quarter of 2020, we can see that the economic growth 2.97% year on year. In the second quarter of 2020, minus 5.32%. It was hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic, which started on March 2020. In the third quarter, minus 3.49%. In the fourth quarter of last year, minus 2.19%. Meanwhile, on the first quarter of 2021, the economic growth was minus 0.74%. And in the second quarter of 2021, the economic growth positive 7.07%. It was, we appreciate it, but in the same time, we know that it was because the low basis in the 2020. So Finance Minister said that next year there would still be a lot of uncertainties. The government will work closely with all parties to oversee economic recovery and deal with COVID-19. Not only 2022. This year is even still full of challenges, which made the Asian Development Bank stated that Indonesia's economic projection in this year will tend to decline to only 3.5% to 4%, lower than the government's projection of 3.7% to 4.5%. Of course, we look forward to how it will be realized in the third and fourth quarters of this year. However, if we see positive growth in the second quarter this year, is this good enough compared to other countries? Let's take a look at the data in the next graphic. So in the graphic, we can see some countries' economic growth in the second quarter of 2021. Malaysia posted 16.1% economic growth. Singapore 14.7% after deeply contracted in the previous year, while Thailand 7.5% the economic growth, and Philippines 11.8%, and far from Asia, it's United States of America posted economic growth 12.2% in the second quarter of 2021. The 5 countries recorded positive growth after deeply contracted in 2020 by the COVID-19 pandemic. Not all countries were able to rebound after deeply contracted in the past year, but the government said the national economy had passed a period of recession after contracting 4 consecutive quarters. When compared to other countries, the United States is said to have been able to pass the pre-pandemic level, with 12.2% growth in the second quarter of 2021, of course with strong counter-cyclical strength and fiscal support. But for this reason, it doesn't mean that Indonesia cannot return to its pre-pandemic level, but that the government must prioritize and focus on strengthening the handling of the health sector, accelerating social assistance and social protection, and also structural reforms to improve the foundation of the national economy. And hopefully all parties can do their best efforts in supporting the national economic recovery. And stay tuned on market headlines. We'll be right back with coverage from the capital market.